If you are planning to take an IELTS test, or have done it multiple times and still haven't gotten your best result, you have come to the right place. In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 5 tips that helped me achieve a Band 8 in my IELTS test. Hello everyone, my name is Shinhor, and I've done IELTS 3 times. You heard that right, 3 times. So for those of you who have taken IELTS multiple times will know how frustrating and relentless this is, because we have to go through the same test over and over again. That's why I want to make this video to share with you my experience and tips that helped me achieve a great result in my IELTS test so that you can avoid repeating this English proficiency test. Before we get started, I will to share with you my score in each time that I took my IELTS test. So on the first time, I got a result of a 7.5 with an 8 in listening, a 7 in reading, a 7.5 in writing, and a 6.5 in speaking. A year after that, I decided to take another test, and the results were as follows, with 7.5 being overall, 7.5 in listening, an 8.5 in reading, and 6.5 in writing, and a 7 and an 8 in speaking. I wasn't satisfied with my writing score, so a week after that, I decided to take another test, and I got a result of a Band 8 overall, with 9 in listening and 9 in reading, and a 7 in writing and 7.5 in speaking. Don't get me wrong, my first 2 results were great results. I was satisfied with both results. However, my university course required me to get at least 7 as an overall and as in each component. So I had to take another test, and that's why I'm making this video so that I can help you avoid repeating this English proficiency test. So if that interests you, please stick around till the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get started with our tip. Tip number 1 is practice. Try to practice as many mock tests or past papers as you can, because this will help you get used to the test as well as the pressure while doing the test, and at the same time keep track of your own progress. Try to keep practicing consistently. I personally practice from the start of my preparation time until the day of the exam, so that I know the test inside out and get used to the IELTS test or the level of difficulty. And try to practice each mock test under exam condition. For example, setting specific time limits. For example, in listening, you are given about 30 to 40 minutes give or take. And for reading, you're given about an hour for 3 passages. And as for writing, you're also given an hour for 2 tasks. And for speaking, it's about 15 minutes more or less. So try to practice each test under exam condition. Sit in a quiet environment so you're not distracted from any outside environment or disturbances. And keep in mind that be selective or be cautious of where you take the test from or your sources of study material. I know or have used personally a lot of fake and unreliable resources, and they're not quite as effective as the real ones. So I would recommend you to take resources from either IDP, Cambridge, or the British Council, because they are legitimate organizations that have a relationship or connection with IELTS itself. So they are able to provide us with tests that are of the same level of difficulty as the real IELTS exam. So they're more effective, and they will tell you more about your own progress as well as how well you're doing or will you do during the IELTS test. And practice. So to summarize, practice consistently, practice in a under exam condition, and practice using reliable resources. Tip number 2 is strategy. Develop your own personal strategies or use strategies that are available off the internet, for example, from websites such as IELTS Advantage or E2IELTS, because they provide us with effective and useful strategies for each component of the test. And within each component, for example, in listening, there are 7 types of questions. So have or develop strategy for each type of the test. Similarly, in reading, there are 10 types of questions. So have strategy for each of them. And IELTS is a standardized test, much like ACT, SAT, or TOEFL. So there are going to be some similarities among each test. So by having strategy, it will allow you to locate answers quickly and effectively. And since you know that we are given a very limited number of time, so by having strategy, it will allow you to save time and honestly feel more confident with ourselves. In the next video, I'm going to share with you the resources as well as my own personal strategies that I use to get me a band 9 in both listening as well as reading. So please follow so that you are reminded of the next video. Moving on to tip number 3 is understanding your own weaknesses. Self-evaluate your own progress after each practice by noting down your score. This is easier for listening and reading because it's easier to mark ourselves, but as for speaking and writing, we need another person to evaluate or to assess our progress for us. So it's a bit more difficult. But try to evaluate yourself after each practice so you know your own progress and you know where you're at. Understand where your weak point is and where your strength is, and work toward improving your weakest point. For me personally, after taking my first IELTS test, I knew straight away that my main weak area was speaking. So I put the majority or most of my effort on it, which had gotten me from a band 6.5 in speaking to being a band 8 in my second time. And that's why I recommend you to understand or know which part of the test that you're most uncomfortable at, and try to work on it, try to improve it so that during the real test you're more confident and feel more assured and gonna do well. Tip number 4 is to set a target band score. Much like everything in life, having a SMART goal will give you directions and a sense of purpose. And similarly in IELTS, we should have a desired band score so that we are focused, we are concentrated, we know what we want, which star we are shooting for, so we have a goal and where we want to go at. For me personally, in my first IELTS test, I didn't have any target band score because my school required all students to do the test, so I just went in and took the test. So honestly, I was just aimless. I don't know what to expect. I just wanted to get it over with. But in my second and third time that I took the test, I knew that I had to get a band 7, not just as an overall, but in each component of the test. So I was honestly, I have a target. I know what I want, and I know what I determined. So that's why I recommend you to have a target band score, one that will allow you to achieve your future plan, as in to study or to work abroad. Our last and final tip is preparation. Have enough time for your own preparation. The amount of time you spend to prepare yourself should depend on your own English skills as well as the confidence in doing the test. However, I would recommend you to take around 4 to 6 weeks to familiarize yourself with the test as well as the strategies that you're going to use. Especially for non-English native speakers like me, we, apart from working on the 4 components, listening, reading, speaking, and writing, we also have to work on our grammar, vocabulary, punctuation, and pronunciation, and so on and so forth. So we should leave enough time for us to prepare and to practice. I recommend you to have a specific study plan or timetable that is allocated or dedicated to practice as well as lessons, because we have to improve our English capabilities while at the same time getting used to the test. So do not rush into booking the test unless you feel confident in doing so. Otherwise, it will increase your chance in having to retake your own test. So these are the top 5 tips that I'm going to share with you today. Please consider subscribing or following for future videos. Also comment down below if you want me to make any other videos, for example, useful resources for IELTS as well as the strategies that I use for each component of the test. And thank you for sticking around. Hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.